phase 2 of this is I need to create a auxiliary plane that comes off at an angle. And so I'm going to be building this on in the center of the front plane. So I want to go to that, and then I'm going to create a line, and I'm going to use the center line to do this. And it will snap into the center position. And I'll go ahead and make this line, and you can see in the line properties on the bottom here, I'm going to use this to create my line here. So I can select the line, I can edit it. And so the angle of this is at 45 degrees, and the length is exactly 2 inches coming from the top of the surface, which is also that plane one that we created. Okay, so now what I need to do is I need to make a plane at the top of this. And so the way we do that, very similar to what we did before, is we'll go to the reference geometry. First I need to just kill this function here. Reference geometry, select the plane, and I select the very end of it. And then all I need to do is go ahead and select anything along that axis of that plane. And that's where the new plane will be, which is at the very top of that point. And so I've selected that new plane, and now I'm working straight down from that plane, and I need to now go ahead and make I'm going to make a hexagon here. So you have to be kind of deliberate when you do this. You're looking at your drawing, what the radius of, or which the flat side is, and it's parallel to the piece itself. And so we're circumscribed circle, and I'm just putting all the coordinates in here. So the circle diameter is 1.5 inches. All right. Okay, so everything looks good. I was checking the line properties. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to extrude this hexagon. I'm going to go to extruded base, and I'm going to select through the surface, to the surface. So it's going right to the top of that plane. All right, so there's no gaps, everything looks good. And so now what I need to do is I'm going to make a circle, because there's a hole in the middle of this hexagon, and starting at the center. And this hole has a diameter of 0.625 or 5/8. And so I'll type in 0.625, and this is asking the radius divided by 2. Okay, so that looks good. And now I need to do a cut extrude. So the cut extrude will take the material out. So features, extruded cut, and there are multiple ways of doing this. I could go ahead and blind and just type in a certain number that I would be sure would go through the entire part. The thing you need to be careful is if you start adding to the bottom, it'll keep coming through your new feature, so you have to be careful with that. But so this looks good. It's going all the way through. And so now what I need to do, there's a little ring, might be an O-ring, that is going around this hexagon. So I'm going to go ahead and put that on there. And the only way to really do this properly, again, is to create another auxiliary plane, because I know where the center of that is. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and make a center line, and I'll create it from the top of the line that we already made. And I'm going to go ahead and type in 0.75, or go to the Smart Dimension and make sure that this is 3/4 of an inch down. All right, and so it's in the center, that's where I need it. right, so I am going to make another plane, and this time I'll need to flip the direction of it, 0.75, and so that looks good. And so the reason why we're doing that is I need this circle to actually revolve around here. So let's go ahead. I'm going to be creating a sketch on that circle, right on that point that we made. And so this has let's see what the diameter here is at, the radius is 0.188, and that's they're calling this the groove. And so it should be in the center of the part. So we prove that. All right, so that looks good. And so now what I need to do is essentially revolve and cut this out of the object. Okay, so I'm going to make the circle here, and I'm going to click into onto that rectangle, onto the part. And so that's what this circle is going to revolve around as I do this. It's not actually a cut extrude. It's something a very similar process. So what I'll do here then is go to my features, and I'm going to do a swept cut. And so all I need to do is click those two lines, and the first one is the actual diameter that's getting cut out. And so that looks pretty good. So I've essentially completed this using the auxiliary plane and with a hexagon cutting out the object. And you have completed the lesson for exercise 10.